Hello, professionals. My name is Rico Aladdin, and I'm the founder of Professional Lunch. Today, we have Dr. Lardy, Gregory Lardy here in the studio for a professional lunch. He allowed me to call him Greg. That's why I did a little stumbled. So I'm going to call him Greg from now on. Greg, welcome to Professional Lunch.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Wonderful. Please tell the Professional Lunch audience a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I currently serve as the Joe and Norma Peltier Vice President for Agriculture at NDSU. So basically have the responsibilities for activities related to our teaching, research, and extension programs that revolve around agriculture. Grew up on a ranch in the very western part of North Dakota, and been at NDSU for 27 years.
Wow, almost 3 decades.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
Yeah. Wonderful. So, one thing I like here, the reason why I always ask the guests about their background is because I want the young professionals who are listening to this podcast to take something from their background, whether it's, how many jobs they have to do before they find out something they love, or whether it's, maybe what they do in their day-to-day, something that they can learn to help them navigate their own careers. So, you occupy right now a number of serious positions. We're going to focus today on agriculture, and I'm going to tell you why, right? When I was growing up, my dad was a farmer, and whenever somebody say agriculture, the only thing I can think of is raising, corn and beans and stuff. So today, you are here. Help me define that so that others like me who only think of agriculture as food, like, raising crops, and they can have a better image of what agriculture is.
Yeah, so agriculture, if you look just across North Dakota, much less across the country, very diverse industry. So it involves, production of food, fuel, and fiber for not only the United States, but a lot of our products, especially here in North Dakota, end up all over the world. So there are all kinds of careers in agriculture, everything from agriculture finance and marketing to production to actually being a farmer. But being a farmer is actually a small part of the overall career paths that you can pursue within agriculture.
Wow, you have to extend a little bit about that, because there's marketing. You talk about different career fields, and I'm sure we're gonna talk about recruiting efforts that you do in your work also. But how does agriculture impact our day-to-day lives when it comes to either food or whatever other things?
Yeah, I think for many people, agriculture is kind of an industry that's overlooked a bit.
Mm-hmm.
People are used, especially here in the United States, people are used to simply going to the grocery store and whatever food products they want are on the shelves. And that's not the case in every country. So we're very blessed here with an abundant food supply, one of the lowest cost food supplies in the world. Like I said, North Dakota, we have about 750,000 residents, but we produce a large volume of crops and other products that go to export markets, not only domestically, but across the globe. So our hard red spring wheat, for instance, ends up in African and Asian markets. Those products end up all over the globe to help feed populations around the world. So North Dakota's agricultural industry generates about $31 billion of economic activity every year. We account for about 1 in 5 jobs across the state.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, how does agriculture, differ in some ways in different countries? Is that what you kind of insinuating?
Yeah. So, agriculture production systems and food production systems vary dramatically across the globe. So, here in the United States, our industry is highly mechanized, very capital intensive. So, a lot of our farms, use very modern pieces of equipment. Farmers are dealing with multi-million-dollar business decisions as they market their crops or livestock. And it's an industry that I think a lot of people that have grown up in it just absolutely love. It gets in their blood. You see multi-generational enterprises. I think of my in-laws operation. My father-in-law, my brother-in-law, and my nephew are all involved in that operation. They're all part of that daily business of running the ranch where they live, and So it's a really unique industry from the standpoint of kind of that familial relationship, and I think a lot of what people that are involved in production agriculture love is they get to work side by side with family members.
Okay. Yeah. So as you can understand, when we are talking about agriculture, when it comes to food production, in different countries, usually it's on a lot smaller scale when it's come to production. So is that something when you travel around you notice?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the production systems that we have here in the United States, you'd find similar production systems in the prairie provinces of Canada, immediately to our north. Australia, Ukraine, and Russia would all have larger scale production systems, would use similar size equipment that we do.
Mm-hmm.
But as you get into many, many other countries, it's smaller scale. It's not as large of an acreage. In some cases, it might be what you would consider subsistence farming, or it's raising the food that a single family needs on a small acreage of land. But our production systems here really have, for a large volume of acres, they deal with a lot of different crops, some livestock enterprises. So it's a very diverse, as you look across the globe, incredibly diverse food production system that we have.
Yeah, wonderful. So, how does modern technology and innovation kind of change or improve agricultural productivity?
Yeah, so if you look across the history of agriculture, let's just say over the last 150 years or so, we began our agrarian systems here, dating back, the indigenous peoples that lived in this area had pretty sophisticated agricultural production systems, especially those that lived along the rivers and so on. They would grow their own crops. They'd store food over the winter. As the country was settled, we had horse-drawn equipment,
Mm-hmm.
and then moved into more mechanized equipment. So as farms evolved, equipment evolved. So we had steam-powered equipment, and then gasoline and diesel-powered equipment. And now almost any piece of equipment you buy, whether it's a combine or a tractor, is going to be equipped with some sort of pretty sophisticated computer system. Many of those computer systems are used to guide the equipment up and down the field, and so they're controlled or can be controlled by satellite. So you have a road guidance system or a system that keeps the tractor straight across the field,
Mm-hmm.
improves efficiency. The data that's collected in terms of everything from soil maps to nutrient analysis of the soil, yield maps as crops are harvested, gets used to do those operations more efficiently into the future. So it's really an amazing industry when it comes to adaptation or adoption of technology,
Mm-hmm.
because it's one where that technology has really allowed for a greater level of efficiency, and ultimately that efficiency means that our food supply here is less expensive than what you might find in other parts of the world.
This is outside of my. This is just a follow-up question, but when I think about it, in North Dakota, especially, we produce a lot of food here, and yet, there's another group of people that are talking about hunger. How do you reconcile that a little bit?
Yeah, it's a great question. And even, it's unfortunate, even in a land of abundance, we still have food insecurity and hunger issues. And so, organizations like Great Plains Food Bank and others that provide that need, fill that need for those folks that do need assistance are critical
Mm-hmm.
to alleviating hunger and so on. And so I think, we can always do a better job of making sure that those food security needs are met and hunger is alleviated. And part of that is potentially a distribution problem. So if you look across the state of North Dakota, we have many rural areas that would be considered what you call food deserts.
Mm.
So they're areas where the local citizens don't have easy access to a grocery store. They have to travel large distances to come to a grocery store to shop for food. That creates hardships, especially for those that are not as mobile, elderly populations that can't drive themselves, or others that don't have the means to travel to a larger city. So I think you're going to see more and more effort or more and more focus on how do we eliminate those food deserts. And if you think about bringing nutritious food to citizens, no matter where they live, part of that is it's not just about calories, but it's a part of a question of nutrition, because we want to provide a safe and healthy, nutritious food supply.
Yeah.
And so that means access to fresh fruits and vegetables. It means access to high quality proteins in the diet and those sort of things. And so that doesn't happen in all communities, because we have some stressors with lack of infrastructure, grocery stores, and that sort of thing across the state, and especially on our reservation populations, as well as an area where you see more of some of those food security needs.
Yeah. Man, again, that was a question. That was ourselves, what I was thinking of asking you, but it helps to understand a little bit about, what's going on there. So what are the main challenges what are some of the main challenges facing sustaining agriculture today?
Yeah, a number of things. Cost pressures, inflationary cost pressures continue to be, an area that is challenging. Increasing interest rates are another one, with, large capital investments that are necessary for farming operations. Increasing interest means increased cost. Longer term, there's a lot of conversation around how can farms and ranches continue to contribute in a greater way to the climate solutions for the country. So how do we use our farming systems, grazing systems, to store more carbon in the soil and alleviate potentially some of the challenges that come from increased levels of carbon dioxide and that sort of thing. So there's a number of things on the horizon, I think, that are very promising. Agriculture is an industry that's going to be heavily impacted by technology, artificial intelligence, how we are able to harness those tools to do a better job of providing a safe, nutritious food supply. You're going to see more and more mechanization and use of automation in farming and food production. That is in response to some degree to the workforce challenges that are out there. It's hard to find enough workers in many agricultural sectors today. And so you're going to continue to see the industry turn to automation and technology to address some of those items.
Wow, what a nice transition to my next question is, so what are some of the strategies that you use to recruit young professionals to pursue degrees and maybe to go after agricultural majors?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so we, a number of our faculty are involved with, recruiting students into our programs. We focus a lot on making sure that students understand that even if they didn't grow up on a farm or ranch, that there's a career pathway for them within agriculture. And so as you look at the array of majors that they could become involved in, whether they want to, if they have an interest in the environment, we have a major in natural resource management that is perfectly suited for those students. If they're interested in, animal health and veterinary medicine, there's career pathways that we have to help them attain that career. If they're interested in more of the business and finance aspect, we have majors in agriculture economics and ag business, and so there's a wide range of ways that students can become involved in agriculture. We think it's critical for those students to see some of the technology needs that are out there within agriculture too, because if you're interested in artificial intelligence or development of sensors, engineering aspects, there's jobs available with the technology companies. All of the major equipment manufacturers hire a variety of computer scientists and engineers to do the work on the electronics that needs to happen with the very sophisticated equipment that they're putting together. So literally almost any job you can think of can have a tie to agriculture in some way. There's a variety of career paths that people take. And the interesting thing about our majors is if you look at our alumni base, our alumni find themselves when they graduate with a degree in agriculture, it's a very flexible degree. And so, we will find alumni working in many different fields, not only in agriculture, but across a wide sector of business or other activities that they have done with a degree in agriculture.
Wonderful. So, I guess in some way or form you said that before, but I would like, because, this professional lunch is about helping young professionals launch their careers, right? And whatever that I can say here or my guests can say to help them find a career path that is best for them, man, that would be, satisfaction. That would be really satisfying. And so, what do you want potential students and even young professionals again to know about the agricultural industry and its potential to growth?
Yeah, I would say a couple of things in response to that, Rico. It's certainly we want them to know about the diverse set of careers that are available in agriculture, and there are jobs. And, the fun thing is that for many of our students that would be right now in high school, they're considering a career in agriculture. There's going to be jobs available when they graduate from college that we really haven't even dreamt of yet because of the technology aspect.
Yeah.
And so I think the exciting thing is that as you look at the workforce needs and where the opportunities are, agriculture and the food industry is an industry that's going to continue to be a very important segment of the employment picture, especially in this region. People need to eat every day.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, we need modern food production systems. And so whether they're interested in the environment or the business aspect or any number of other careers related to communication, management, there are all sorts of opportunities that those young people can pursue. And they just need to get out and even for summer job experiences as a high school student, if they have an interest in horticulture or within other fields in agriculture, find those summer job experiences, dip their toe in the water, get some experience, find out what it's like, because that summer jobs in high school or college are great ways to kind of find out a bit more about what some of those career paths may be like, and to let them experiment a bit in terms of what sorts of things they might find very interesting.
Wonderful. We could talk about agriculture the whole show, but the show is mostly about to learn about yourself. What you've done in your career. It's about your professional journey. Right now you occupy. You hold. I think two positions.
Correct. Three
Yeah,
positions.
three
Yeah.
position, two director position. I would like you to tell me about those a little bit.
Yeah, so as when I serve here as the vice president at NDSU, I actually hold three titles. So one of those is Dean of the College of Agriculture, Food Systems, and Natural Resources. So really provide an opportunity there to provide vision for our academic programs, to help grow that enrollment, find more students that we can have to fill those jobs that are there. I also serve as the director of the North Dakota Agricultural Experiment Station, and so that's the agency that is charged with conducting research related to agriculture systems in North Dakota. So within that system, we have a large presence on the NDSU campus with many different scientists that are located there. But we also have a network of 7 research extension centers and the agronomy seed farm at Castleton. So those 7 centers are located at Langdon, Minot, Williston, Dickinson, Hettinger, Streeter, and Carrington. And they really serve as a local resource for agricultural producers and ag businesses in those communities. They conduct research and extension programs that are directly related to the production systems in those particular locales. So it's really a tailor-made system to help our producers be able to answer the questions that are more than likely different questions in Williston as they would be in Carrington or Langdon. The production systems and the crops that are grown are different. And then the third title I hold is Director of NDSU Extension. And NDSU Extension has a local presence in every one of the 53 counties in North Dakota. We operate in partnership with county government to provide a local county extension office for the local citizens in every one of those communities. And so we have extension agents that deal with three main program areas. One is agriculture and natural resources. The second is family and community wellness. And the third is 4-H and youth development. And those three program areas help those citizens in those counties answer questions with a science-based technical approach. So we ground all of our resources with sound science so that our programs and educational programs that we do all are rooted in the literature appropriate for the discipline. And so we are working directly with scientists to provide the best answers that people can get to the questions that they're raising.
Wow, wonderful. And I remember the first time we met, we talked about your schedule a little bit. So that was something that, I can never, every time I think about it, I bust out laughing. It just, for me, it's just, it's just amazing to see how you arrange your schedule and to be able to navigate all these positions. So you mentioned that NDSU has an office in almost 53 countries in all the 50 countries, counties. So are these offices only recruiting a student for agricultural majors or for the whole school?
Yeah, so within NDSU Extension, we don't have an official mission for recruitment, but one of the programs that we do operate through Extension is 4-H.
Mm-hmm.
And 4-H provides opportunities for young people. Over 6,000 youth in North Dakota are enrolled in club 4-H programs, and many, many more are impacted by 4-H through other activities that are after-school programs or other clubs and so on. So those students, the 4-H students, many of them get the chance to come to campus for some of their events and contests. They get exposed to NDSU. And we serve as a local resource for not only those youth, but every citizen in the county can access the resource, the information that we provide.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really unique. We do that in partnership with county government. So our counties provide a portion of the salary for those extension agents that are present in the local community. And then they also provide the office space and operating support to run that local office. Mm-hmm. So it really is a true partnership financially and otherwise with local county government, and it gives NDSU a unique ability to understand what's happening at the local level. Yeah. And that's part of our land grant mission, and we're very proud at NDSU to be the institution that has that mission across the state.
Wonderful. So, again, I want to ask you about, you've been with NDSU for 27 years. Did you hold any position before that?
Yeah, so I graduated from NDSU in 1991 with my bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And from NDSU, my wife and I moved to Columbia, Missouri, and I did a master's degree in animal science at the University of Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there moved to the University of Nebraska at Lincoln and began work on my PhD. About a year into my PhD, I had a chance to continue on the PhD program, but actually work full-time. So my first full-time job was actually managing a laboratory where we did nutritional analysis on various feedstuffs and other products. And so that was the first chance I had, so to speak, at a real job, one that paid a salary, one that was a permanent job. And learned a lot in that job. My advisor there was a wonderful mentor. And so then came back to NDSU in 1997 and began my faculty role at that point.
Wonderful, wonderful. So if you hear some of the guests that I've had on Professional Lunch, if you hear some of the podcasts that we had, I made it a habit to ask the guests, what do they love about their work? And that is something that I'm always curious to hear the answer, simply because if you spend 8 hours a day doing something, you have to have something that you like.
Right. Yeah. You really hope you like it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what do you love the most about your work?
Yeah, I think actually several things.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up on a ranch in western North Dakota, I grew up loving agriculture. I loved the production systems, loved the people that were involved in it, and so this job, number one, I think gives me an opportunity to really continue to be involved in that industry that I grew up with. I love the fact that my job gives me new challenges and problems to solve every day. So no 2 days are alike, and it's also a job where you get to meet a lot of different people, and so that's a lot of fun as well. So it's a job that lets me do a number of things that I really enjoy.
Oh, wonderful. So, you talk to me. You told me about your first job, serious job where you get an actual paycheck. Throughout your career, name some of the. Can you think of some of the challenges that you had to overcome in order for you to make, to get to be where you are today?
Yeah, I think part of it, when you think back across a career path, is part of it is simply discerning what the next step is, right, and trying to understand more about yourself, what your interests are. And so I think back, like we talked about earlier, some of those summer jobs I had gave me opportunities to learn and understand more about what I liked and what maybe I didn't like so much about certain jobs. And I think challenges wise, you come to places in your career where you have to make a decision. Am I going to go one direction or another? There's always learning moments that come along that kind of help you, I think, understand a bit more about what might be something that you're really going to enjoy. And it's much better if you can figure out what you're going to enjoy and know that before you say yes to a job that you might not like.
Yeah.
And so, along the way, I've had a chance to really be mentored by a number of people that have helped, dating back to, my parents and some of my early teachers helped me, kind of see career paths that were appropriate or where they saw a skill set that I had. And that encouragement has really helped get through some of those challenges too.
Wonderful. I'm so glad this is the second time you mentioned mentor, and I have to follow up on it a little bit simply because professional lunch, ultimately what I want to do with professional lunch is create a mentoring platform for young professionals to be able to learn from accomplished professionals. And this is where we are heading with that. And you've had mentors when you were at your first job, you had mentors, throughout your career. How significant it is to build mentoring relationships when you're first starting your career?
I think it's critical. I think especially for young people to feel like they've got somebody that they can talk to and ask questions of, get some advice from. Along the way, I've had like I mentioned, I think back to teachers that I had in high school, teachers that I had in college. The advisors I had in my graduate programs. And then as I got into my professional career, had mentors that, had similar career paths or were in similar disciplines to me that, was able to lean on and ask questions of. But I think it's really important for those young people to find mentors along the way and to know that those mentors are going to change over time. As your career evolves, you need different types of mentors along the way, and there's mentorship that comes in terms of professional mentors, but there's also mentorship that comes in more of a personal touch or kind of the outside work environment as well. And I think both of those are really, really important.
Yes, I can testify to that. Mentor. I've had mentors, countless mentors throughout my career, both personal and professional, and I can tell you now, has it not been for mentoring relationships, I don't know if I would have a platform where I'm talking to, really accomplished professionals. And they have guided me, supported me. They believe in me when sometimes I don't even believe in myself, to be honest.
Well, I think that's an important point, Rico, because many times the mentor will see something in you that you don't or you haven't discovered yet,
Yeah.
or that you've kind of diminished or not viewed in the right sense. And so I think it's really important. One of the really important roles of mentors is to be able to help encourage that mentee and point out where they see a skill set that the mentee maybe doesn't know that they have or hasn't been expressed fully, because that really helps instill some self-confidence and know that somebody else sees something in them that they can believe in.
Yes, and yeah, again, this is my life. This is really my life. So this show, Professional Lunch, is about helping young professionals. So at the end of the conversation, one of the questions I always ask the guests is really to share advice, because you might hear something 3 times, but the fourth time make a difference, right? So, what advice do you have for young professionals who are launching their careers right now, whether in college or even in high school?
I think it's important to keep in mind that the career is only one aspect of your life, and so it's important to think, from the standpoint of principles, some of the other things that are going to be important as you think about yourself as a human being, right? So being physically healthy, being sharp intellectually, making sure that you've got a strong set of values that guide you. All of those sorts of things are really important. And so I think one of the pieces of advice I would have is don't become singularly focused on career. That it's important to know that there is a life outside of work, and sometimes we can get to a place where we simply find our identity is only about career, and that's not a good, healthy viewpoint either. And so thinking about your physical health, thinking about your mental health, all those other sorts of things, that's a lesson I learned early in my college days, and it's I think fundamentally important to success over the longer term.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And I think that's one of the when I'm talking about this, I usually say personal and professional development go hand in hand, right? You can, if you are developing yourself professionally, you have to pay attention to yourself personally, because you must be in good shape to be able to enjoy the professional success that you are after. And so that's a very, very, very good point. When it comes to yourself, you use yourself as an example. What did you have to do, or how do you keep yourself in line or focus to maximize on that?
Yeah, great question. So my daily routine, almost every day involves, an early time out of bed, some time in prayer and meditation, some sort of physical activity, whether that's a walk or a bike ride or going for a run, and then hit the work after that. It's important to get enough sleep. So knowing when to shut down and shut off the computer, set aside the email, kind of unplug from the screen time. That's all, I think what I've found in this job for me to be successful is I have to be pretty deliberate at trying to keep that very similar, pretty disciplined routine of kind of how I approach each day. And obviously, travel schedules and those sorts of things sometimes interfere with that. But I've always found I'm at my best if I can maintain a pretty consistent schedule that way.
Wonderful. Do you travel a lot?
Most of my travel is in-state. I do some domestic travel and occasional international travel, but most of my travel, most of my responsibilities actually kind of lie within this region. And so traveling, throughout North Dakota with our regional network and our network of extension centers and county offices, do travel mainly throughout the state of North Dakota.
Wonderful. Greg, we get to the last few minutes of the conversation. Do you have any last words for the Professional Lunch audience?
Yeah, I would just encourage your audience, the young people, to explore. Don't be afraid to, try a summer job and get your feet wet, see what it's like. Internships, especially for college students, internships are really important. Way to take advantage of learning opportunities to develop a broader professional network. I would also encourage, those students to not be afraid to take one of those internships in a different part of the country. It shows your employer that you're willing and able to make a move and operate from a different physical place. It takes courage to do that, and it takes conviction to do that. But the students I've seen that have done that have been rewarded because they grow personally and professionally, but they also develop a much broader network of professional alliances that can help them in the future.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Man, I hope some of the young professionals get to hear this because that will serve them, for a long time, for a long time. Greg, thank you so much for being on Professional Lunch today. I appreciate everything that you have to share on agriculture because you bring some light to help me understand some of these things and also the advice to young professionals. Really take care of yourself personally and professionally. It is the best way to go. And also those jobs. We talk about those jobs. I call them in the professional lunch book I'm writing for professional lunch. I call them bridge job. You need those bridge jobs to figure out what you really want. And I think that's pretty good advice right there. I appreciate that. Thank you for being on the show. Now, Professional Lunch is a nonprofit organization. And so we rely on guests, we rely on friends, we rely on partners and other organizations to keep this program going and grow the organization for young professionals who are less connected in the community. And each guest we bring on the show, we talk to them about their life, their journey, and also some of the pieces of advice that they can give to help young professionals launch their careers. We rely on you. And if there is anything that you can do to support maybe a year of professional of the podcast, maybe an episode of the podcast, reach out to me. Find me on LinkedIn or Facebook or even YouTube and connect with me. I will sit down with you and then we can talk about it. At the very least, follow us. Follow LinkedIn, follow our page, follow Facebook, find us on YouTube, and subscribe so that you can hear about some of the wonderful guests we are bringing on the show each week, like Dr. Gregory Lardy today, talking about agriculture. We thank you in advance for your contribution to Professional Lunch. We appreciate you, and we know that you are supporting our work. Now, this is the part that I tell you. It's up to you to make today a great day. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Rico.
Wonderful.
Very enjoyable.